We shit our pants a lot in this camp.
Hey, I'm down. Let's go.
We'll call each other. I'll be like, hey, guess what I'm doing? Sitting in traffic, sitting in my own shit. If you ever get in a group of guys, you're like, hey, when's the last time y'all shit your pants? It'll always start off with, I don't do that.
No, not me.
And about 30 seconds later, everybody's like, okay,
yeah. Well, there was this one time.
Grab the KY, get yourself ready. You got some sliding to do. Hanging out with TL and the boys, maybe some critters too. So get your phone and get on the gram. You know where to find the man. Slide into the DMs. Girls on your mind. Slide into the DMs. Well, baby, take your time. Slide, slip it on in. Here we go again. DM Monday.
Welcome back to another episode of DM Monday podcast. I'm Trey Lewis here with Mitch Wallace and today's guest, JTodd. We are in his gym.
What's going on, guys?
Man, so first Zeb was like, you need to get JTodd on your podcast.
Yep.
And then Mitch was like, we need to get JTodd on the podcast. And then we had Mac on our podcast. And he was like, I think he sent us a text. He was like,
yeah.
Or we went to ride go-karts at K1, and we just like on a whim just went one day, and we invited him just at random, and he showed up, and he was like, you guys got to get JTodd on your podcast. So
It just worked out with you.
What is your real name?
Justin
Got
Todd. But, man, I've been going by JTodd for a long time.
Nice.
I mean, JTodd, Todd. Back in sports, everybody called me Todd.
Yeah. Where did JTodd come from?
Probably from my Instagram account. It was originally JTodd Fitness, and then people just picked it up, JTodd.
Yeah.
But when I first moved to town here in Nashville, it became JTodd too. Like my friends and then clients would hear JTodd, so they'd start calling me JTodd.
Yeah.
But
somehow you got saved in my phone as Justin Todd, and when I went to hit you up about the podcast, I was like, I don't know if that's JTodd.
That's
or
really
not.
him.
And like, so I was very like sketched out to text you, but I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. Like,
yeah.
So you formed your own nickname just by naming your Instagram, JTodd.
Yeah, I didn't do it on purpose.
See, when I was playing baseball growing up, they started calling me T-Bird, and I hated it.
T-Bird.
oh, you didn't like it?
No, I hated it.
Dude, I think we need to bring that one back.
Growing up, they just called me fat.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I hated them calling me T-Bird. And I was like one of those kids, like I sucked at, I played football from 6 to like 13, like, you know, but I hated baseball. I wasn't good at it. Like I would strike out and cry, you know?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, T-Bird struck out again. I'd be like slamming my helmet in the dugout, you know?
I'm like, come on, Trey, you got it this time, man. Just hit the ball.
But then my mom started calling me T-Bird, and it was fine after that.
It stuck after that?
Yeah.
Did you have a weird name growing up from your parents or anything? Mine was Mouse.
Weird name growing up.
My grandma always called me Mouse. I don't know why.
I can't think of one. No, my brother was Bubby. That's about it.
Bubby.
Yeah, I didn't have one.
How did you get the name Mouse?
I don't know. Still don't know to this day. Still calls me to this day. What sports did you play growing up?
Growing up, I played everything from basketball, baseball, football, soccer when you were real little.
Yeah. Where are you from?
Swimming. Carmel, Indiana. So I've been here for 6 years. Moved here. Essentially, the gym I was training at in Carmel, Indiana, well, Fishers, Indiana, a trainer and his artist came to town. This is Bear, by the way.
Yep.
This is my gym dog. He's the best. But a trainer and his artist came to town before one of their performances, and we just got to talking, and this was in 2017. So then he said, would you ever move to Nashville? He's like, I work with artists. I've got a mobile gym. I train them at their house. I kind of bring the road life of training artists on the road. I bring that to Nashville. And anyway, 2 months later, I came here. I was in school studying exercise science, kinesiology. The month before he had came to the gym to train his artist, I had actually dropped out of college. So I'm a college dropout. And yeah, I've been here for 6 years.
So you're just like, I have nothing else planned. I'll go. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. And the whole training artist thing was, sounded pretty cool. I had worked with a bunch of athletes and adults and a bunch of kids. Kids is my favorite thing to do. Favorite type of client to work with because you can be so impactful for their life. I had a bunch of coaches who did that for me. Right. And if I can do that for them, that's what I want to do. But the artist thing seemed cool, seemed fun, wanted to go on the road. Then I got here. So I still work with some artists, but road life, not for me.
Yeah. So you would like go on tour with them like in the bus or what?
I never did. No, I just did mobile training here in town.
Okay.
So I'd show up to their house, train them there.
Cool.
And then so I'd set up the gym there at their house and then leave. But
would they have their own equipment, or did you kind of carry around your all
with
your
that
stuff?
With that company, no, we had all the equipment and we would bring it to them.
Like in a trailer or what?
It was a big van. Yeah.
Like, you just bring in like tires and like sledge. That's what I think about.
Yeah, it was like a bunch of rogue equipment. I mean, we had plates and barbells and dumbbells, like the power blocks. It was a great setup. They do a great job.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So why'd you drop out of college?
Man. So I went to college mainly to go play football and played at Holy Cross in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Oh, nice.
Then I went to be a preferred walk-on at Indiana University. Started partying there. Well, I started really before that.
So you were good at football?
I mean, not compared to a lot of
But you played
guys.
at college level?
Yeah, for 2 years.
Yeah, I guess compared to some of your clients, you're not
What
that
did you
good.
play, linebacker?
Middle linebacker. Yeah, I like to hit people.
I noticed the other day when we were in here, you were talking about some of the like long snappers and stuff you train. You were like, I just trained them like they're linebackers.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I'd like to see them go make a play downfield. And at the end of the day, like to a certain level, all you need to do is train to be a better athlete. Like all the specificity training, like yes, there is a place where we do that, but at the end of the day, let's just train to be a better athlete all around. I don't care what position you play. I'm going to train a lineman different than I train a linebacker, than I train a wide receiver, than I train a soccer player, than hockey.
Yeah.
But, when it all comes down to it, we're just trying to become better athletes all around.
Right. Anyway, so why'd you quit college?
Let's get back to that.
I hope you're getting some good Zoom shots of this dog.
Dude, I can hear him. It's probably all you guys can hear is Bear breathing. Bear.
That's
awesome.
great. He's fine.
I usually have to listen to me breathe. So.
So from there, then I went to a community college because on November 12th of 2013, I was smoking a joint up at the apartment, at my apartment with my boys. And I come downstairs and my buddy Joel, he goes, dude, why is your mom calling me? And I'm like, I have no idea. So I get my phone and my mom's calling me at this point. So I pick up the phone, I'm scared to death. And I answer the phone, I'm like, Mom, I just smoked weed. She goes, answer the door, your dad's there. Within her saying answer the door, boom, boom, boom. I hear a knock at the door and I go to answer the door. I said, boys, you might want to go upstairs for this one. And he says, let me see your grades. And I go, Dad, I don't know how to check my grades because I hadn't been to class in 2 weeks. This is November 12th, 2013. So, 3 months of school that I should have been. I was supposed to play football and never even showed up in the locker room. My buddy sent me a text of my name in the lockers, and that was as close as I got to being a Hoosier. And so we go upstairs to check my grades, and there is a chair, the locker room chair that's sitting by the sauna right now. That chair is in the drywall of my room.
Oh, shit.
I had thrown it like a week prior, and I thought it was funny, so I left it.
Yeah.
So, of course, my dad sees all this, and he's like, what in the world is going on? So I can't even pull up my grades. We finally pull it up. I can remember the website right now, one.iu.edu, right there. But at that time, I could not remember that. And so anyway, obviously, my grades were trash. So we drive home that night.
He takes you home?
He takes me home. I'm sitting right next to him.
Wow.
How long of a drive is that?
That's an hour and 10 minutes.
Okay.
It was the longest hour and 10 minutes of my life.
Yeah.
And that really, it had started at Holy Cross when I had 2 shoulder surgeries. I had gotten into addiction and alcoholism at that point. I fell in love with the feeling that the pain pills gave me. And so I was always chasing that feeling to turn off my brain. So anyway, we drive home the next day. I'm working at a warehouse, like just doing any type of thing. I think from shoveling gravel to forklift stuff to inventory, shipping, anything they needed, I was doing it. The next day, that Saturday, I went back to Bloomington, Indiana to drop out with my mom. Got my stuff together pretty well for that next semester. The next semester, I enrolled in the community college. I started going to a boxing gym and ended up fighting Golden Gloves. I won my first fight.
Were you sober this time, or was that like your?
Yes, but I hadn't worked any programs.
Yeah.
I didn't think I actually had a problem. You
just were dry. You just put the stuff down.
Correct. I still thought I just needed to remove myself from those situations.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't
Those
me,
people,
it was
yeah.
other people.
Yeah.
Correct. So I start boxing, training 4, 5, 6 hours a day, like throwing my whole life into it, that and 2 classes at the community college.
Yeah.
I fight, win, get a concussion, out, can't move my neck for 6 days. The next fight, the dude's 6'11", 350, I quit. I'm like, I'm out.
What?
I'm not kidding. He was 6'11", 350. I'm not making that up.
Yeah.
So
you
quit.
You didn't fight him? You were just like, I'm not fighting that guy?
Yeah, the day before the fight, I'm like, I can't move my neck. I wanted to go play college football again. I'm like, this is probably not a good move. It is one of my regrets. Like anything else, like I don't regret anything else. But that one thing, I kind of regret quitting that. And I wish I could have tried to fight him. Because super heavyweight. So I'm 6 foot 213 at the time.
Yeah.
And had dropped from 240 2 months prior because I was just training like a maniac. I threw everything of my being. That was my new addiction.
Yeah.
And so I quit. I ended up going playing at DePaul University in Greencastle, Indiana, Division III. And about 6 days before my 21st birthday, I get pneumonia. I'm taking the codeine, the prednisone, all of that stuff. And I was taking it pretty much from what I can remember as prescribed.
Yeah.
But I was passed out. This is game night, so the team is on the road. Obviously, I'm sick, so I'm staying home in my dorm room. And my buddy, Diego, he comes into the room and he's like, hey, bro, let's go to Phi-Psi. And I remember
What is that?
One of the fraternities.
Oh, okay, cool.
One of the fraternities there, they're throwing a party. And I remember saying no at first and then seeing a bottle of New Amsterdam that he bought, vodka. And
you're like jacked up on steroids and just
I was gone.
Sipping
I
on
think
the
that
scissor.
night I had taken more of the codeine
Yeah.
than I was supposed to.
Yeah.
For sure. Nodding off. And so then I start chugging. I just pulled it back and start chugging. I was like, all right, let's go. I remember I put this lime green Minions shirt on and these khaki pants because there are pictures of me passed out with that New Amsterdam bottle like this on the wall. And I remember the next thing I remember is waking up in my parents' house an hour and a half east of Greencastle
Oh, wow.
the next day.
Okay.
So I had gotten taken to the hospital by public safety.
Oh, shit.
17 days later, we were playing our last game against Wabash. And we had lost that game. I'm like a third-year transfer, so I'm a pledge for Delt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so all the football players, they were either, I can't remember, but one of the houses was Delt. And so I'm running the door, but I'm drinking as well.
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of alumni that I played with in high school that are, hanging out with me because I was their age.
Right.
Or not their, anyway, so I was close with them. And I remember going to a bar, and then next thing I remember, I wake up in my parents' house.
Again?
An hour and a half away, 17 days later.
Oh, no.
You're like me. You're like blackout or get out.
That's right.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's the way I was, man.
Absolutely. And I could never tell when I was going to black out. But if I was going to drink, I most likely was going to black out.
What's your parents' reaction the first time you show up at their house? Are they kind of like supportive, like, you're okay, we're just glad you're safe?
I don't remember.
Or are they like, fuck you?
They came to the hospital in Greencastle to pick me up from the hospital and drove me back.
I think probably by this time, like, they kind of knew you had a problem if they were showing up to your first college. And
so in that time period, I had seen a therapist, and she's like, you need to work a program, you need to get connected with the 12-step program.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't need the 12-step. Like, I'll get sober and I'll see you on occasion.
Yeah.
But that's all I need. And, that just continued because that I am through and through an alcoholic. And then from there, so you get suspended, obviously, if you get taken to the hospital twice in 17 days.
Yeah.
So then they're like, we want you to come back and play, but you got to go get help. So I go see this therapist. I'm like, here's the deal. She's like, okay, you can either stay at home and do outpatient treatment and live with your parents and work, or you can go to Montana. And she hands me this brochure with a grizzly bear.
It's like a wilderness camp?
A wilderness camp.
Dude, I had a friend that went to one of those.
Yeah, out in Montana.
Yeah.
That's a good story. You wrote a song about it, didn't you?
Yeah. It was like the first song I ever wrote. But my best friend, I have a new record coming out March 1st. It's up for pre-save, if any of y'all don't know that.
Go get it.
But it's called Troublemaker. And the first couple lines of the song, it talks about a kid named Frankie, and that was my best friend growing up. But he would steal his mom's debit card and like go take money out, and we would just go buy like weed and shrooms with it, And
Absolutely.
once they busted him on that, they were like, your ass is going to wilderness camp. So they sent him out there.
WTC.
He said it was like one of the hardest things that he ever did, but he saw some of the most beautiful like views.
What was the name of the song you wrote?
Frankie Didn't Die Out in Montana was the name of it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to Montana because I'm thinking it's like a boys camp and we're going to go hang and whatever. It's going to be awesome. I fly out December 26, 2014, day after Christmas. And I remember they like strip searched me, took everything that I owned except my t-shirt and shorts. And then they put me under this dude that was coming off of meth.
Oh, wow.
And so in my eyes, I'm like, okay, I've never done that. I'm not like
not
these
that
people.
bad.
Yeah, this isn't for me. So 3 days later, I'm trying to convince him that I don't need to be there and that they need to let me call my parents. And so finally they let me 3 days in. And my dad gets on the phone. He's like, nope, you committed. You need to do this. It's 60 days. And it didn't hit me until the end of the conversation. He goes, don't quit, don't quit, don't quit. And that just struck me hard. And that's been kind of my mantra for starting the gym and a family and just this new life of don't quit, don't quit, don't quit. That's just stuck with me ever since. And so I stuck it out. For 17 days, they do what's called trip. And again, this is from December 26th till like February 26th. And so this is now like February 10th. And you go out in the middle of Montana. It's the middle of winter. Mm-hmm. You take the cross-country skis, your ski boots, the little snowshoes, and your food, everything. 17 days, see ya. You start walking. It's 4 other guys, 16 to 24 years old, and 2 counselors. And you go out. And for 3 days, 2 nights of that, you do what's called solo. So solo, you're supposed to complete your 4-step. And so they give you kind of like a packet.
You're just out there like inventorying, like under in a tent. And
it's like
what is your 4th step? What does that mean? It's 4 of the 12, but what is the 4th step?
You take inventory of your wrongdoings.
It's like everybody you kind of did wrong or something.
Resentments and shit that you've done. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's like a lot. It goes into depth. It's like 17 pages. On each one, you're supposed to write down everything from like people that I've harmed, things that I've said, events where I was doing something wrong. Anyway, so it goes like ask more detail.
It's very thorough, and then you know, at the end of it all, you look at your resentments and your fears and all that stuff from an entirely different angle than you would ever look at it, you know, and you see where you were at fault and where you set the ball rolling. And that was a game changer for me, because
absolutely.
I always thought that everything was everybody else's fault, you know, and that, you know, these people just needed to get away from me or learn to get fucked up like me.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Get with the program.
But then when I was able to like look at it from an entirely different angle, that I was like, oh wow, this is all my fault. I set the ball rolling. But I want to say something right before we move on any farther. I was just sitting here kind of in reflection, you know, and it's you know, obviously you know how me and Mitch met, and you know, most of the people that watch and listen to this know that we met. I was his cousin's counselor in rehab. But like how addiction just affects not just the addict, you know, it affects everyone, you know, the family. Like when you were telling your story, it's like your parents knew you were fucking up, you know, but also at the same time, they knew you were extremely talented at sports, and like, you know, they raised you, you know, and they wanted you to, you know, do well. So it's like they were always trying to like, you know, help you out in a lot of ways. You know, at some point that trying to help somebody harms them, you know. And then finally when you reach that point of like, all right, I'm here, and they're like, I want to leave now. You know, I was the same way when I went to treatment. I remember being on the detox porch smoking cigarettes and people talking about smoking crack and doing needles and shit like that. And I was like, yeah, I've never done that. You know, I just like to get blackout drunk and take Xanax, you know. I'm not like these people, you know. And then somebody said to me, man, you got to look at the similarities and not the differences. And that was like huge for me. But it's just crazy that like, you know, there comes a point for every addict in his life where the people that love him and have tried to help him have to say, no, you know, you gotta stick this one out.
Yeah, that's got to be the hardest thing. Now that I've got an 11-month-old son, it's like I would do anything in my power to make sure this kid's okay.
Yeah.
And make sure that he's successful and set up and comfortable.
Yeah.
And my parents could not have done a single thing different, and I would have turned out the exact same way. I would have done the same things. I owe everything to my parents. They are amazing. I'm where I'm at today because of them.
Yeah.
And my wife. But it was extremely hard on them. And I can see their face. I can see the feeling. I can feel the feeling that I've seen on their faces when I've had to go through some of the things that I went through. And, you know, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. So I can't imagine how they felt when they had to pick me up from the hospital or, you know, XYZ.
Is it harder to reflect on that now that you're a father? Is it kind of just...
I feel it more.
Yeah.
I feel it more, and it's very special, our relationship now, even more so. Like, I'm very tight with both of my parents. I'm a mama's boy. I call her all the time.
Yeah.
And it's just way more special now that I have a son, and I see how much I love him and how much I feel how much my parents love me.
Yeah.
So it's a really special thing. Absolutely amazing.
That's cool. So you had to reflect on all the bad doings, wrongdoings, whatever you want to call them, in a tent.
Are you doing this inventory in a tent, like flashlight in your mouth?
Montana.
So I was big into Bear Grylls at this time. I went through a bunch of different phases because as an alcoholic, you go all in on one thing because you think you're going to be a Navy SEAL or an NFL player or Bear Grylls or whatever. And so you go all in. And then you do it for like
Bear Grylls knife
for like I bought all that. It was like orange and anyway. And so I set up my A-frame and it was nice. You could hear one of the kids screaming. It had snowed about 2 feet.
Yeah.
That first night, and so you hear him screaming because his tent fell down, his tarp fell down.
Dang.
So he was soaking wet that first night, and mine was good. But the next day I wake up. There's there's moose tracks all around my camp.
Oh shit.
And so it was like, okay, this is real. And nobody else is out here. So yeah, you're reflecting on everything. It's really powerful. And it's a real big God moment. So I finish it. I'm hitting rocks off the side of the mountain with some sticks.
Yeah.
That's how I was passing the time. And I finished that 4-step. I finished hitting the baseballs. And I sit down and I see this bald eagle fly by. And it was like, God's got you. I got you.
That's your like spiritual awakening.
That was my spiritual awakening. So then I go home, sober for 9 months, start dating a girl who's in the program. She starts drinking, so I start drinking.
Hell yeah. Perfect.
Yep. I was doing the program too.
The best thing ever.
Yep. Made the girl your higher power.
Absolutely. And that started essentially a roller coaster for the next.
How old were you?
Right there, I just turned 21 when I went to rehab. Yeah. So, you know, from 21 to 26, essentially, it was sober for 6 months, drinking for 3.
Yeah.
Get people happy for 2 months, drinking for 4.
Back.
Yep. And the last straw for that was November 3rd of 2019. November 2nd. November 3rd is my first day of sobriety. And my girlfriend at the time, my now wife, invited my friends over. So we're in a little tiff, right? We're in this apartment complex in Nashville, and we get into a little tiff. I'm like, I'm going to McDonald's, and expecting her to go to sleep about 8:30. She likes to go to bed early, no problem. I'm going to go to McDonald's, get that bag, but then go to the liquor store and get a 5th of Maker's Mark.
Yeah.
So I do that. I come back home.
Were you sober at this time, or were you drinking?
I was sober to everybody else, but I was drinking.
Okay.
Did she know you were drinking?
She didn't know.
Okay.
So I was trying to hide it. So I'd wait till she goes to sleep. I'd start drinking and be good to go. So I come back in, open the door, and boom, out pop all my best friends from Indiana to celebrate my birthday about a week and a half before that. And so I'm like holding this bag with McDonald's plus a 5th of whiskey. They all think I'm supposed to be sober too because they're my best guys. And so then I set it down behind, as close as I could away from them, as far as away as I could from them. And the whole night we're playing like board games. I think they were having a couple beers, and the whole night I'm thinking about how can I get that 5th
and drink it
drink it. Yeah. Not how can I throw it away? How can I drink
or like,
it?
Man, this is awesome. My friends drove down to come see me.
Yeah. So the next day I'm like, hey, I'm going to go get you guys pregame. We're going to go to a rooftop on Broadway. I'm going to go get you guys the alcohol so you can pregame. But they're like, we don't need a pregame. We're good.
Yeah.
We're just hanging out. And
but you're like, no.
I got it. No problem.
You guys all stay here. I'm going to go alone and get it.
I want you guys to have a good time. And so I do. I get them a 5th of Tito's. But then I also get 10 shooters of Tito's and put them in. I wore compression shorts underneath my pants.
On purpose?
On purpose.
Wow.
It's crazy. I would never think of such an idiot. And I was just fiending to drink because I couldn't drink that night before. I couldn't.
Yeah.
And So I get that. I chug 2 before I go in, and then we start to leave, and I'm like, oh, wait, I forgot my wallet. I go back in, I chug 3 more. My wallet was in my pocket the whole time.
Yeah.
So then, I finish all of that night, the rest of the shooters, and I come back home. We go to sleep. I wake up like at 10 a.m. and I say to my girlfriend at the time, I say, where'd the boys go? She's like, what do you mean? It's like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. They had to go back to Indiana. Yeah. And that feeling that I had that I missed out on, I wasn't present for them celebrating me and my birthday and them being here. I wasn't there for it. That hit me like a ton of bricks. I went to a meeting right away, got a sponsor, and didn't tell anybody anything about me drinking until I got 30 days sober.
Wow.
At 30 days sober, I told Lauren, hey, I was drinking before again. Like, obviously, if this is it, this is it. If you want to leave me, I understand. I've lied again, probably now the 8th time that I've done this. I'm gonna keep doing this. I've got a sponsor now, and let's just see what I can do here. I'm committed to. At that point, I knew for a fact I was an alcoholic. Up until then, I wanted to hold out. I thought, well, maybe I could have wine. Maybe I could have a beer.
Yeah. Maybe
in my wedding I'll be able to drink.
But it's like, let's be honest, I'm hiding this shit in my pants.
Yeah. In compression. Like, literally went to my drawer and put compression shorts on specifically to put shooters in my pants.
I mean, I'm saying I'm going to McDonald's just to go get
McDonald's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was nuts. So that was it, man. And then at a year sober, then I started telling clients and trying to help other people. I mean, I was helping other people in the program before that.
So Lauren obviously was like, I'm in this. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. That was all a blur. I don't much remember what her initial reaction was. I think she was so fed up. Her dad's an alcoholic as well. And so she's like, here we go again.
Yeah. What was the inventory process like this time, going back through it?
Going back through it again. It hit me harder.
Was it less of a dump, but like more of a...
Less of a dump, but hit me harder.
Yeah.
More guilt, more shame, more remorse. Because I saw at this second time how much I had hurt loved ones.
Yeah.
When I was going through it at first, it was so self-centered, and like I still hadn't completely... There was still part of me that was like, man, these guys are still...
You weren't done yet.
Yeah, I wasn't done yet. And you know when you know.
Yeah. Did you go back and make amends to your parents again, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've made amends multiple times. It was as good as it could be.
Yeah.
There was nothing it was all, I had just hurt them and disappointed them and about all the money and support that they had given me through that hard time in the beginning from 21 to 25. Because at this point I was already living on my own in Nashville. And so it weighed heavy because of the disappointment I could feel from them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I made amends to my dad, and when I asked him what I could do to make it right, because I had like stolen money from my dad, he tried to help me go to military school. I got kicked out of that. Like, there were so many things that he did to just try to help me. And I remember him looking at me and saying, I mean, just keep doing what you're doing, And my dad died when I was 26. So now that he's not here, like, that, keep doing what you're doing means so much more than what it meant back then,
Oh, absolutely.
And that's just like a beautiful thing. But yeah, it was crazy, man.
That's wild. Yeah, it's that don't quit still sticks with me.
Yeah.
And my dad, I think, had said pretty much the same thing your dad did, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
What's you said it was hard at first in sobriety. What are some of the things you can recall that, like, maybe more specific? Elaborate on that.
It was a lot of my habits. So towards the end, I knew that I was an alcoholic, but I didn't want to admit it and didn't want to fully accept it. And so I wouldn't go out with people. So I was a guy that would literally, I'd get done trying to train as many people as I could. Then I'd go drive for Lyft to get just enough money so I could get some alcohol. And then I'd stay at home, put on a game or a show or whatever, eat and drink by myself, then fall asleep, wake up at 4 a.m. and go train people again. And so towards the end, for about 2 months, I was drinking about every single night.
Just isolating.
Isolating. Because I knew how I was so shameful and remorseful and just guilty of, because I had a head full of recovery and I knew what I was supposed to be doing, but I was doing completely the opposite of that. And so at first it wasn't that hard coming off of the alcohol for me. But it just like who I was hanging out with outside of work and what I was doing with my time outside of work. That was probably the hardest part, developing the new routines that I needed to be the man that I said I wanted to be and be the person that I wanted to be. Trying to figure out what it was I needed to now go do, as opposed to look for that next fix.
Damn.
Being here in Nashville and separated from my family by distance made it easier to make amends to the people I loved.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't physically with them. And so I would see them actually, you know what the hardest part was? So I would see them every like 3 months.
Right.
The hardest part for me, and actually still to this day is the hardest part, is for me to go back to Indiana and go to our lake house or go back home to my parents' house. And both are the absolute most amazing place. I love going back. However, it does bring back the guilt and the anxiety that I would have because I would be hiding it from them. And so we'd be down at the lake house and there was a garage up at the top that would have all the booze.
Yeah.
And I would always act like I'm going up to fix the fishing poles or fix the tube or whatever. And I'd be throwing them back. And then I'd get blackout. Then I'd get in an argument with my parents or my brother. And so going back there.
Fuck y'all, I'm going on the John boat.
That's exactly right. Exactly that.
So many similarities, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. And so going back brings up those feelings of having to have the lectures from the parents, and living that lifestyle of always looking over my shoulder like I was doing something wrong. And every time that I go back, it gets better and better and better. And I call my sponsor to make sure, hey man, I'm thinking about this quite a bit. Like, what do I need to do? And it's really just call me. It's going to be fine. And so each time we create better memories, bringing my son home to where I grew up, the best thing in the world.
Kids change everything.
They change everything.
I don't even have a kid, but my sister has a kid.
Nice.
And,
niece or nephew?
Nephew.
That's awesome.
And I went home. Home's always been a weird place for me. Kind of like you said, same thing. But I went home this Christmas with, relatively high anxiety of how it was going to go. And I don't know, it was like Christmas morning. I was playing guitar and me and my mom were singing Christmas carols just to like see his reaction, Oh, yeah. And I just can't imagine like what it's like to have your own kid, and it just kind of like changes everything, man. How awesome is that?
How old is your
3?
Nice.
Yeah.
So he like gets it.
Yeah, he gets it. I dressed up like the Grinch. Yeah. But I was like a nice Grinch. He was like, the Grinch grew a heart. Yeah.
That's special.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oliver, he doesn't yet understand, like the wrapping paper was cool. The boxes were cool.
Yeah.
The toys are cool for about 2 seconds and then he's on to the next thing. So it was extreme. It was very cool to watch him like open gifts where we're opening it and he's kind of sitting there. So next year that will be, I think he'll, get it a little bit more, but even putting up the lights and he's staring at the lights, trying to grab them, and we'll listen to the Christmas carols and whatnot. And he's, we're dancing around with them. So yes, it makes Christmas, it turns it up a notch for sure.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It
makes you enjoy it again for
sure.
So
you start training people like immediately after this time when you get sober. I mean, I know you're still doing it when you were drinking.
Yeah, I've been training people. So the funny thing is a lot of people didn't really understand that I was drinking.
Yeah.
I guess I was hiding it pretty well.
Yeah.
Or they're lying.
Yeah.
And they felt bad and they just didn't want to say they knew.
I mean, I think sometimes in like an environment like this, it's like Steve Sarkisian when he was drinking at USC. Nobody would have ever thought, that he was drinking. You don't think, you don't associate alcohol with a gym. You know what I mean? If nobody's looking for it,
Yeah, I mean,
you only like see stuff if you're like looking for that kind of thing.
Were you an athlete still while you were drinking? Like, were you still personally training? Not just training others?
I would think I used to think I was.
Yeah.
I remember smoking a cigarette in rehab because they wouldn't let me dip. I just used to dip. and they wouldn't let me, so I started smoking. I'm like, I'm still an athlete. I'm like smoking a cigarette. They're like, no, you're not. You little.
You're literally smoking a cigarette. Dude.
Yeah, sitting on a rehab porch.
Yeah,
you're not an athlete. You're
but
right.
you still were working out and stuff.
Yeah, I was still training myself. Fitness for me has always been a constant.
Yeah. Did you go harder once you got sober? Did you dive into something to take up that space in your mind? That now, since you're not drinking, did you go hard at something?
My biggest thing now is I obsess over everything. Yeah. From a conversation that I have.
Yeah,
with
we
the
heard that you eat like crazy food.
Bro,
I figured
I've heard your Chick-fil-A order is nuts.
Yeah, 2 spices, 1 with pepper jack cheese, 1 with Colby Jack, a large fry, sometimes 2.
Extra fry, Mitch. Mitch always gets an extra fry.
Not always.
This one he's feeling sassy.
Listen, now
my extra fry is also a medium.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to go large. Why
no,
not?
my regular is large. My extra is a medium. It's a truck
both.
fry. What it is it's a truck fry.
A truck fry.
So like I eat it on the way home.
On the way home.
And the rest of it stays rolled up hot.
Yeah, and then you heat it up later. Yep, perfect.
Yeah.
I order a double one now. I used to do it because I was going to eat it all. But now I do it because my wife's going to eat it for sure.
Yeah.
Even though she says she's not going to. I know she wants the fries too. And then either 1 or 2 strawberry or Oreo shakes.
Oh no, that's too much.
Well, listen, they don't make the.
You're crazy.
How do you have a gallbladder?
They don't
still?
make the. It's
I
probably
used
going
to
to
eat
go
like that. I don't have a gallbladder anymore.
Well, my appendix burst. That's probably what.
Yeah,
gallbladder's next.
Yeah.
No, I don't do that anymore.
You would get 2 shakes
Because they don't make the larges anymore.
Oh.
You got to get enough.
They only make small coffees too, so
That's right.
I get 2 of those.
Right. So you get it.
I'm like, if y'all just make a big cup, that'd save a lot
It
of
would
time.
save a lot of plastic and time. No, but now it's ice cream.
Yeah. You were telling me a pint.
I ate a pint of ice cream every single day for 3 years.
Oh wow.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
Or the Chick-fil-A order.
What was your go-to flavor and brand of ice cream?
Either Ben & Jerry's half-baked, Ben & Jerry's cookie dough, or Jenny's gooey butter cake.
Would you just eat it out of the little pint with a spoon?
Was that like all you ate, or did you eat?
No, that was after dinner.
When you say a whole pint, like, are you going all the way to the bottom and like scooping the edges out and getting those 2?
Absolutely.
Every night.
Every night. Sometimes 2 pints.
No, stop.
See, dude, like I'm the type of person, like if I'm working out and doing all that stuff, I have to eat healthy, because if I eat like shit, I'm not going to the gym.
Yeah.
The next day.
Yeah, it's not happening.
See, I'm always going to the gym, no matter what. That's just been like when I was 12. My dad used to be a bodybuilder. So
is there ever a time where you don't feel like working out and do it anyway?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
More times than not.
You know, you used to train us at River House. I worked at River House, and you would train us on Tuesday and Thursday.
Yep, 5 o'clock.
And I remember, dude, like there'd be majority of Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'd be working, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to work out today. I would forget about it, and Kayla would always be like, you got your gym clothes? And I'd be like, I don't know yet.
Yeah, man.
I'll let you know later. Like,
I'd say 75% of the time, I don't want to work out.
Yeah.
But it is so ingrained into my lifestyle and what I do. It's just what I do. I mean, we're in the gym, so.
Do you think you're addicted to working out?
I'd say I'm way better now than I have been in the past.
Yeah.
You need to make one of those videos like, can't work out, I'm going to the gym. Broken foot, I'm going to the gym.
That's right.
Shitty day, I'm going to the gym.
Have you guys seen this dude?
Gout attack? JTodd's going to make me work out anyway.
That's right.
Going to the gym.
Hey, we figured it out.
Yeah. We had to do some weird shit.
There's this dude on I think he's on Instagram. I can't even think of his name, but he's like, go to the fucking gym.
Go
to the fucking gym.
Is it the 75 hard guy?
No, that's Andy Frisella.
Yeah.
No, this dude's like long hair, looks like an Aquaman, and he just gets in the camera. He's like, go to the fucking gym.
Good fucking morning. It's time for you to go to the fucking gym. You know it's time to go. What are you doing here? Go to the fucking gym.
Yeah. What about that guy that got caught doing the carnivore diet or whatever? The meat eater guy, but that got caught with steroids?
Full of juice.
Yeah, dude.
Like $12,000
That
a
was
month.
wild.
Have you ever
on
done steroids?
When I was not knowing, when I was 16, no.
Like SARMs or something?
18, Anyway, senior year of high school, I had like really messed up my hamstring, pulled it, whatever. My buddy, he's like, hey, I got you. Everybody around, like a lot of our parents work for Eli Lilly.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, my dad works for Eli Lilly. I got you. I'll get you some.
And who is that?
What is that?
It's a pharmaceutical company.
Okay.
From what I understand. And he's like, I've got some HGH I can get you.
Cool.
And I was like, all right, so that'll help me recover, right? And so that was my own, like I was just trying to get back on the field as fast as I could.
Right.
And I don't know if I've ever told this story to anybody, but he literally would bring a syringe to the bathroom in a paper towel, and he'd give it to me, and I'd go before practice and right into my ab. And I did that for 3 weeks and didn't miss a game, not from the hamstring. And so yeah,
You feel like it felt you? I mean, it helped you?
No, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Mentally, yeah. I was like, I'm the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That
just
was so
did
stupid. I had
HGH.
no idea what was in it.
It's probably like water.
It probably was. That's right. And then when I was 18, I came back after like transferring back and not playing football. This was after rehab, and I got tight with the guy Travis behind the counter of the nutrition store. And
It's always the guy behind the counter of the nutrition store.
And he's like, hey man, you keep coming in, you seem pretty dedicated, why don't you try this? And he puts like these 2 pill bottles up there, and it's like Blackstone Labs. And I was like, oh, that looks legit. And so I'd start taking it, and I blew up to 245 pounds
of muscle.
and just I was like squatting 565 for 3, like doing step ups 315, like stupid stuff. This was like in my ego lifting, like think it was cool, filming everything possible, thought I was like filming daily light, like it was just so cringy. And yeah, I got really strong on it, and then I started to get irritable like 2.5 months in, and acne on my back. And then I was like, I should probably look what this stuff is.
Yeah.
And because I was one of those guys that would just like, I did not care what it was.
And you were taking pills, which is terrible for you, right?
Yeah, it would mess up your liver, like just be terrible for a lot of things. And they discontinued making that. It was essentially a pro hormone. So outside of your body, it's a pro hormone. Inside your body, it essentially acts like a steroid.
Yeah.
And so I was essentially taking steroids. Yes. Yeah. I didn't do any research, but nope, ever since then, nothing. Creatine, protein. Yeah, that's about it. But right now, nothing. Just like vitamin D, some B vitamins.
You a caffeine kind of guy?
Methylfolate. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, with working as much as I do, probably about 4.
Like 3 Celsius.
What's your go-to caffeine?
Usually not 3. I'll do 400 milligrams of an Alani. I like a nice cold brew. Cold brew every day would be perfect, but the coffee shops don't open when I come in. So if I can buy like a bulk from LG Coffee and buy that and have it, great. That's my favorite. But Alani energy drink, that's what I usually, because we have it at the gym.
I got on a little working out kick there for a little while last year, and I bought some amino acids to like take after I worked out. And one day I was just drinking it, and I was just sitting there on the couch like 30 minutes after drinking it, and I thought I had a fart and just shit right through my pants.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like through my underwear, through my jeans, onto the couch.
Oh shit.
Yep. I did those protein shakes as a meal replacement, and I was working out, and I was taking like thermogenics. So my body was just all out of whack, and
Make you hot.
Yeah, but I shit everywhere on myself. Yeah, I mean, I thought we
shit our pants a lot in this camp.
Hey, I'm down. Let's go.
We'll call each other. I'll be like, hey, guess what I'm doing? Sitting in traffic, sitting in my own shit.
I feel like it's good for a grown man to shit himself every once in a while.
Absolutely.
It just keeps you humble, you know.
If you ever get in a group of guys, you're like, hey, when's the last time y'all shit your pants? It'll always start off with, I don't do that.
No, not me.
And about 30 seconds later, everybody's like, okay,
yeah. Well, there was this one time. I had this teammate of mine. We're running gassers at the end, and he goes, Coach, I got to go to the bathroom. He's like, get on the line, Davis.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, Coach, I really got to go. Get on the line. After we break down to our position groups, and he goes, what the fuck is that smell? and you turn around, he's like, Davis, get the hell to the locker room. He starts running. His entire white football pants are covered in brown shit. It was hilarious.
Like,
I can still smell it.
Did you fart? No, I shit myself.
I told you.
What do you think I do?
I told you, Coach.
What do you think I do? Just go around smelling like shit all the time?
I grew up wrestling my whole life. I started when I was like 9 through high school, and it was always the funniest. Like, you know how when you work out, like you'll do a squat and you'll fart, and it's like, sorry, dude, I really can't help this.
Clients
a lot of that happens in wrestling. Like,
oh, absolutely.
You know, like you'll do something, you'll fart, and in the middle of a match, you just gotta laugh it off, dude. Like, sorry.
Absolutely.
What do you do when a client farts if you're like working with him?
He just ignores it. He just keeps going.
No way. I call him out for sure. For sure, we're talking about it. We're calling that out to the whole gym.
Oh man, that's great.
I'm like, oh, Mitch just farted. I'm like, really? This is day one? Are you serious? I don't even know you like that.
That's great.
No,
dude.
but I got one guy. He's like, man, if you can't fart in front of your personal trainer, it's a terrible personal trainer.
Yeah, dude. If you have to hold in a fart and do a squat,
his first year of training, it was the worst farts every single day. He'd stink up the whole gym.
That's great, dude. So
yeah, perfect.
You were working for a mobile training company.
Mm-hmm.
When did you transition to like kind of your own thing, like being your own boss?
I did that for 8 months and then ended up doing my own thing. Still going mobile. I'd go to different turf fields, different parks, different houses. Most of those folks who are going to pay that price point, they're going to have their own equipment.
Yep.
But I can work in a box. Like we can train with nothing. And so we just did whatever I needed to do. And then I ended up, so COVID happens. And I'm just doing anything and everything that I can do to get by. Like I had gotten an expensive apartment because I thought I would make X.
Yeah.
And I was only making X. So I was driving for Lyft. I was working at Edley's. I did 3 shifts at Edley's, the barbecue joint.
Oh yeah, I love Edley's.
They put me in the back. I don't love Edley's much anymore. And
I saw on your Instagram you were doing like videos during COVID.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So that was a daily warm up. What's up, guys? My name is Justin Todd, and this is day 365 of the daily warm up. I lived with Zeb at that point.
That's
He
great.
couldn't stand it. Every single day, I'd film a 10-minute video of me doing some type of movement, mobility, and I'd post it.
Everything is content.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great. I became known as the mobility guy, but most of my stuff is like speed work, strength, power, all that, and so kind of gave that up. But no, it was great. Like if you're looking to grow, your consistency is key. You got to post every single day, and I just don't have the time to do that. But so COVID happens, and a guy named Matt Overton was training at Sparta back in Fishers, the place where I had met the guy that brought me here.
Yep.
And he's like, hey, I've got an Airbnb in Nashville. Are you still training in Nashville? My wife and I are going to come to Nashville because nobody's renting Airbnbs.
Matt Overton says this to you?
Yeah.
Cool.
And I was like, great, meet you at Rose Park, which is where Belmont trains their soccer team and track and field. And so the next day we go out and train. He had just been cut by the Jaguars. And so I bring out my dumbbells. I've got the Bowflex dumbbells, a TRX, med balls, and some bands. And we go take him through a performance workout. He had been doing a bunch of strongman stuff prior to that. And so that went really well. Next day, he brings a guy named James Neal, this ugly painting that you're looking at behind you. No, it's awesome. James is the best. He brings James, and then
James is a hockey player.
Hockey player, yep. And a week and a half after that, James brings his buddy Ryan Johansson, who was playing for the Preds at the time. And
Sick.
Then Ryan Johansson introduces me to a guy named Ben Weprin. And Ben Weprin owns the building that we're in right now.
Nice.
So I went from needing to grind as much as possible, and I still do, but needing to make a living, to just pay for my roof, the roof over my head, to, this thing just blowing up overnight. And it didn't, I guess it didn't, it looked like that from the outside, but it had been like a 10-year deal of me just working as hard as I can, learning as much as I can, doing a lot of free sessions just to get content.
Yep.
In order for it to look as if I was training a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that, a lot of trainers will ask me, what do I do? I was like, train as many people as you can.
Yep.
Well, how much should I charge? Whatever, anything, whatever you need to, in order for you to either 1, get content, 2, get experience, 3, do your job and help as many people as you can. Because that's why we get into this. We want to help people.
Yeah.
But then there comes a point where you have to take care of yourself. There's too many people that continue to do things for free. There needs to become a time where you transition that and you do make a living for yourself, and you need to get paid for what you're worth. Once you do that stuff, now you've done your schooling, you've done your certifications, you've done the experience part. Now you need to start charging for what you're worth. And that is a good price point there. But anyway, so I say all that, and then Ben, he's a connector, and he just helps connect everybody. So at that point, I was renting space out of a place called Get Fit Anytime here in town.
Yeah.
And Adam Semanchik owns that gym. He's the best human in this world. Absolutely love him to death. I was renting space out of their personal training studio. It's a 24/7 gym. It's a wonderful gym here in town. And 2 years into that, I had come across an opportunity to get my own spot. And that was January 24th of 2023 is when I opened up this place. So we're coming up on a year right now. And in that year's time, so my wife and I got married in May of 22. So right before
Congrats.
the year, thanks. And then we ended up getting pregnant on our wedding night. Woohoo. And
Let's go.
Doing it right.
absolutely.
The Christian way, baby.
That's right. We waited. Mom and Dad, we did it.
I'm calling bullshit on that.
Bear woke up for that.
I promise. She had her ovulation date like dialed.
Nice.
We made our wedding date like based on like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
cool.
Yeah,
dude.
it was pretty cool. So like that was like a legit thing. Like we know the exact day.
Yeah.
And then we had our son Oliver Grayson on February 15th of 23, and we're expecting our second son July 15th of 24.
What's Oliver Grayson? Is that anything? Is there a story there?
Nope.
Just cool
I
name.
wanted a kid
Just
named
cool
Oliver, and then she came up with it. We're on our little baby moon. You're supposed to go like take a trip before you have a baby, and we're sitting on the beach. She goes, "What about Grayson?" And my first thought was Grayson Allen, a Duke basketball player. I was like, no way. And then I was like, wait, Oliver Grayson. Yeah, that fits. All right, good.
That's awesome.
No way.
Yeah. And I absolutely love it. I mean, it's perfect. So
He's got 3 first names.
that's just like his dad.
That's great. Yeah, dude, this gym's awesome. So we came, what was it, last week and toured it. You got the pickleball courts over there.
Basketball court.
I love that. I did a cold plunge right before I came here. So, when I walked in, my finger was white.
Right.
But I got out there and played pickleball with Matt for like 5-10 minutes. Felt like I was going to have a heart attack, but my fingers and
got
toes
better.
are warm now. So we're good.
Movement's
Let's
massive.
talk about that machine in there. That thing's elaborate.
Man. The Oxfit. So
Yeah.
Oxfit is an incredible company.
You can measure like eyebrows on that thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's got 2 force plates, velocity-based tracker. We can track how much force you're putting into the bar. You can do barbell stuff, harness stuff, cable stuff, and you can do a bunch of different features from adding chains to it to doing an overloaded eccentric. So on the part where you're strongest, which is the eccentric, so the lowering phase, like in a squat, you're really strong going down. So I can put 300 pounds on the way down. On the way up, it's a lot harder, so I can drop that thing down to like 150, 200 pounds.
Oh, that's cool.
So the things we can do a loaded jump. So that barbell, it's got all the weight on it. You can jump with 135 pounds on your back, but then the second you leave the force plate, boom, shuts off the weight. So you're only landing with a 45-pound barbell. It's really nifty.
That's cool.
I like it for a lot of reasons. 1, we can track your data. But 2, the kids, the people, the athletes, the people who have trained for 20 years, 15 years, or the ones who are just getting into it, it's really easy to use. It feels really good. Your joints feel great, and it's fun because you can see your data. You can see there's video analysis of yourself moving.
Yeah.
And so it's just a fun tool that we add to our training. I mean, we do a lot of our stuff is a lot of speed work. So it goes in right hand in hand with our philosophy of doing power and strength work as well with the speed work. So yeah, we're really excited to have those. We've only had it for about 4 months. James is actually the guy that brought those here. So big thanks to James Neal.
Yeah, it's like a spaceship. If you don't, if you only listen to this podcast, you got to go watch it and check it out.
It's funny you say that. So the technology was made for spaceships.
Oh, wow.
A NASA engineer developed this technology over 20 years ago. People are going to have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe they said it looked like an exoskeleton that they would wear.
Yeah.
With this technology, with the motors on.
Yeah.
In order for them to not lose bone density while they're up in space and muscle mass while they're up in space.
Yeah, I listened to a podcast about that. If they don't work out and lift weight in some kind of way, when they get back to gravity, their bones will just shatter.
Yep.
That's crazy.
That'd be nuts if they shatter.
It's really interesting to listen.
How long do you have to be up in space for that to happen?
I don't know. It was just a road trip. I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, and they were just talking about all the things you have to do that you don't really think about when you get back. If there's no muscle mass or bone density, then it's just not good.
I don't think I have an interest in going up there.
Yeah.
What about, this might be random, but what about the show Alone? Have you ever watched that?
No.
It's where these people get dropped off in Alaska, like in the wilderness, and whoever makes it the longest
Would you do that?
gets $500,000.
$500,000.
If I was in like good shape and had like the skills, then I probably would do it.
It's whoever lasts the longest.
Yeah, like you have to you get like 15 or 20 items, but like people build houses and
Are these
you gotta
like
kill all your own shit.
Are these like survival specialists or
Yeah,
just
yeah,
everyday
yeah.
people? Oh, I'm not gonna compete with them.
If I
But
could,
I would do it.
But if I had like,
do we see each other?
No, you don't get to see anybody.
See, I would do it
You
if I
have
could
to-
have psychological warfare.
You have to
against
film
them.
yourself and everything.
Yeah,
Like it's pretty intense. But like if I had like 3 months to go train myself or something like that,
You do it.
I'd do it.
Let's do it.
dude, you can't do that. Your feet are cold right now.
I know. That's what I'm saying. If I was like a different person,
Yeah,
You'd
Dude,
you'd like to be able to do
if I was
that.
anybody other than who I am,
Yeah.
I'd do it.
when we came here and toured
But I love
the
watching
gym, we played pickleball, and your battery pack for your socks fell out. Tell us
Yeah.
about those.
Yeah.
really sick.
So I've gotten pretty big into the cold plunges. I've been doing it for about 6 months now, and but my feet get really cold like afterwards. I like the circulation and
Yeah.
my hands. So I bought some heated socks.
Are they
with
worth it?
batteries in them. I've only worn them once, so probably not.
Yeah,
I got these socks though that I've been wearing. They're like neoprene, and they keep my feet warm in the plunge.
Is it only on days where you do the cold plunge or all the time?
Pretty much all the time, but it didn't start until cold plunge.
Yeah.
Are y'all going to get some cold plunges here in the gym?
Yeah, I've thought about it. So
I'll
we
come
went
work out in cold plunge with you.
if I get one.
Yeah, if you get one, I'll sign
On
up.
January 20th, we're doing a wellness day. And this
Yeah.
dude is coming to do, so we're like playing games, working out. We've got a chiropractor and a PT to do body work and treatment.
Yeah.
And we can do sauna. And then there's 50% off on IVs and the vitamins. That we've got a company here that at the gym that does those. And then we're bringing this guy named Steven Roccazella. He's awesome. He learned under Wim Hof.
Oh,
the breath,
nice.
and so he does the Wim Hof technique, breath
Yeah.
work. And then we go cold plunge after that.
Sweet.
So
That's
that's going to be January 20th from 10 a.m. to 1.
I think we're gonna be in Cali.
You're going to be gone.
Yeah,
That
we
sounds
will.
awesome.
You'll be here in
Unfortunately.
spirit. But
That does sound cool, the breath work and stuff. That stuff's interesting.
yeah, we're going to keep doing those because what I wanted to do was the workout stuff for the everyday person. Like to me, that should just be a constant. It should be just what you do if that's the route you want to take, right? But it's still on one spectrum. It's just aggressive. It's not calming. In today's society, man, cortisol's super high, stress is super high with all the social media
Yeah.
and just people's jobs and people's lifestyles. And so that will essentially, it's adding another stress to their body. What I want to do is showcase other methods of which they can help improve their body, i.e. breath work, cold plunge, sauna, body work, treatment, the IVs, all that good stuff. So I would, what I try to create here at Athlos is all-encompassing place where athletes can get all of their needs taken care of in one
Yeah.
place. I want it to feel not only like a locker room, like where we can come hang out and have fun, and after our workout we can chill. We've got a seating area with drinks and whatnot, but also a place where you can just grow with other people and have community.
Yeah.
And I honestly, man, what's created a community is pickleball.
Yeah.
I know you guys, that was the first thing you all did when you got
Yeah.
here, and it has created the best competition ever. And guys are, they're going out to dinners after, lunches after. They never knew each other before they came in here. And I think if we just had the workout part, that wouldn't happen.
Right.
Sure.
We would still have a great community of people here. We've got the best clients here. But what pickleball, basketball, handball, speedball, all the games does is it brings people together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely wanted to touch on why you think personal training would be beneficial for someone. Maybe someone that is a professional athlete, and also how it's beneficial for someone that's not. Maybe someone like me that, used to work out 10 years ago and played sports and has no idea what they're doing now. Like what's your elevator pitch for something like that?
For you, man, it's accountability and showing you accountability, number one, but
Yeah.
showing you that it doesn't have to be like it was when you were on the wrestling mat.
Yeah.
And when we can essentially figure out what are the things that we can do for you that help you to get the body that you want, not only physically, but also mentally. And, it's actually not as painful as I thought it'd be. It is a lot more comfortable than I thought it'd be. This is attainable.
Yeah.
I can do this. Basically a support system for you to help do some hard shit
Yeah.
and realize, I can do this. And especially when you've got a team together with a personal trainer, that's essentially like, that's your team. And when you can do things with other people, it's a lot more It's a lot easier to accomplish those things. So, you know, because it is daunting to get back in, especially if you've already done it. You're like, man, I'm never going to get back to what I used to do. Like that was.
It's definitely scary. I know, you know, at River House, I remember one day, you know, now I have gout now, which I've had for a couple years. I didn't have it back then. So working out and putting stress on that causes flare-ups, and it's tough for me. But I remember at River House one day I had a gout flare-up, and I was like, yeah, I'm not working out today. I'm having a gout flare. And then I came back the next day to work out. Not the next day, the next time you were there, and you had like researched gout. And you're like, yo, I know this, and this about gout, so we're going to do this workout today. We're going to keep it off you. Like, and, you know, you kind of held me to that accountability, because the next time I was like, I'm having a gout flare. You're like, that's cool. Come on. Like, I got some other shit for you. And I remember one time, like, he was like, we're like, the group's going to do this. Like, he pulled me aside and he's like, hey, the group's going to do this today. And while that's happening, you're going to do this. But he like pulled me aside and was like, you know, just so you know, that's what you're going to do, so I don't have to tell you in front of everybody. Yeah. Like, to make you feel like excluded. And like, he was like, you know, whenever that happens, you do that. And I was like, cool. All right. And like the whole workout he like set up for me. I thought that was really cool. And, you know, something I wanted to bring up for anybody listening, like if you do have some kind of, you know, handicap or something
the
you're nervous about,
judgment-free zone.
That like, that's cool to know.
We got a lunk alarm too.
There's trainers out there that will like, you know, it's like, cool, I hear you, I'll figure that shit out.
That's my favorite part. So to me, the movement, the exercise, like anybody can do the stuff that makes you want to throw up.
Yeah. Like
to me, a trainer that makes you throw up, they're not doing their job. Because anybody can do that. We can do burpees and toe to bars, and you can go to CrossFit if you want to do that.
Yeah, bear crawls.
I did CrossFit for for a long time. You know, my dad died doing CrossFit, so we ain't doing that shit.
Really?
Yeah,
Jesus.
had a heart attack in the gym.
Really?
He's the reason that they have defibrillators in CrossFit gyms now.
Really?
Yeah.
If I never see another bear crawl, I'm good.
Yeah, so I like being able to figure out what are the things we can do when we do have these contraindications. So with gout, what are the things we can do? Let's not look at what we can't do. Let's look at what we can do, and trying to figure out how I best accomplish that is really fun to me. It's kind of, the way I see a session is like a beautiful symphony. So we've got like our dynamic, let's say for an athlete, we've got our dynamic warm up, and then we'll go into our activation and our speed work. And then after our speed work, we do our power, our jumping stuff, plyometrics. From there, we then go into our power work, and then our strength work and conditioning, and all of that kind of flows together, and each one needs to go before the other because it all essentially goes in line with it, right? And I like trying to figure that out, especially with somebody who's not an athlete, and trying to figure out how can we feel better at the end of the session while also making them stronger or lose weight or whatever it is. But a lot of that too is like the hardest part is the nutrition.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
That is because there are 168 hours in a week, and I'm only going to see somebody about 3 hours at most if they're coming 3 days a week. And so it's trying to figure out what their lifestyle is like outside of the gym. Yeah. Where can we improve? Where can we make these small changes? Because we're going to have to track macros here in the beginning. We're going to have to look at, a log of what we're eating. So
I lost 60 pounds once. Never even worked out. Just ate right.
That's right.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's 100% diet. That's what it's about. And then for me, the training is the mental side. Yeah. Like we get the mental wins from training. We get the physical wins from our nutrition. Yeah. That's how I explain it to a lot of people. And man, it's hard. It's hard. It's like for me to not eat sweets at night, that's hard. So I can relate to people who are struggling to make those changes because I struggle big time. The only benefit I have is I'm on my feet 24/7, moving, working out, sprinting, running, lifting. So, but I've seen it change as I've hit 30. Like I'm still very young, but I've seen it change. But when I was 22, I could do this, and 25, I could do this. Now 30, it's like this. So it's very tough to change nutrition. Now, from an athlete standpoint, like if you've got a kid, like let's say 8 to 12 years old, for me, they don't need to be in the gym 24/7. They need to be go playing as many games as they can, as many sports as they can, and having fun. But number two, just to get in here once a week, maybe once every other week, it helps to raise their overall ceiling, to work on their movement patterns, to get them sprinting, to do things that they're not used to doing. It's very hard for kids to play games now because they're all, you know, playing video games.
Yeah.
And they don't have the neighborhood kids to go play games, pick up basketball, you know, wiffle ball, all that stuff. So here at Athlos, we create an environment where they can play games. So a lot of our youth sports performance, we're playing a lot of different game scenario type drills where it's realistic to real life game to sports. And we're also doing drills to make sure they're doing things right. So it's a good balance of that. And then let's say you've got, from a high school perspective, a lot of the guys in high school, they're going to have great strength coaches at their school, especially around here. And so I try to fill in the gaps, and I'll get their training program, or if I can, I'll try to talk to their strength coach. What are the things that they're not able to work on that's with the team that you'd like them to work on?
Cool.
And so I'm fully in on being completely the support staff. Strength coaches.
So you go the step of like talking to their coach, their workout coach, their sport coach.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That way, I mean, we're going to get the most out of that.
He's all in, baby.
Absolutely. And so like on Saturday mornings here, I've got Speed Saturday, and I've got a kid from NBA, a couple kids from Innsworth, Lipscomb, Ravenwood, FRA, CPA. And so they all are in the same division. They all compete against each other in the regular season. But here we all train super hard and get better together. And it's super cool to see that develop. But anyway, so I just try to fill in the gaps because strength coach is already on the support staff. Like the head football coach is the guy calling the shots. Strength coach is the support staff to him. And so I'm private industry support staff to them.
Right.
I think if you're in the private industry, you have to go at it that way. You can't think that you're going to be the guy calling all the shots. I look at my work as more of a consultant. Okay, you're doing this. Okay, here's how you should do this. Here's how you should do that. Here's when you should do this. And try to essentially maximize what they're already doing.
Yep.
And then for, you know, that's similar to college as well. Off season, I'll get some college guys, and then pro guys, my favorite pro guy to work with is a guy who's been grinding super hard, trying to lift, more weight. That's a lot of what strength coaches are about. More is better as far as weights go. And so taking a guy that's been doing that for a long time and essentially getting them to feel better.
Well, they're competitive too.
Sure.
So they want the numbers.
Correct. But at a certain point, that doesn't make us a better athlete.
Right, yeah.
Right? It makes us a stronger one, but not necessarily a better athlete. It depends on your position and whatnot too. So it goes deeper than that. But we're going to do a lot of things to help you feel better and try to unlock either it's another year or 2 or 5, and just getting you to feel better. But obviously with professional sports the way it is, it's a game of milliseconds. So we're going to have to train really hard at that point too and be really locked in on the details.
Yeah. What you train a bunch of pros. Do you watch all their games?
Yeah, I try to as much as I can.
Does it kind of hype you up to see them do well?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. I mean, that's
what are the wins in this? Like, you know, seeing a high school kid get a scholarship offer, or seeing a pro guy do well at a game, or seeing someone, you know, meet their goal of losing 10 pounds. What are the wins? Tell us some of your favorite win stories.
All of that. When I get a text that a free agent gets signed.
Yeah.
When I see a guy kick a game-winning field goal. When
you're like, we worked on that right there.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah. No, so are you like is it harder to be a super sport fan for one team now?
No, go Colts.
Yeah, okay.
Go Hoosiers, Indiana Hoosiers, and the Colts. That's it. No, but absolutely a player's guy. Like, obviously, I'm going to cheer for anybody that I'm working with or that I know. I think everybody would do that.
Yeah.
The biggest wins for me, honestly, though, is inside the gym when I've got, you know, a couple 10-year-olds or 12-year-olds here, and then I can introduce them to the pro that's in their sport.
Yeah.
That's really special. To see their eyes light up, they literally, from the second that person walks in, they are working so hard, that kid is.
That's cool.
They turn it up a notch every single time. It is awesome. And I remember that feeling of meeting pros when I was a young kid.
Yeah.
And it is like your whole world is made in that moment. And so I've gotten to introduce, I don't know, a handful of pros to these kids, and that's extremely special.
That's super sick, yeah. It definitely adds a mentality too. Like, you have some of the jerseys hung up. I can definitely see where it would make you want to grind, just to be reminded like where you can go, what it can do.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Absolutely. I mean, these kids come in, like, I try to create a place where they wanted to hang out, and almost like a lot of the kids will say it looks like somebody's a rich person's basement.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like they made it for their home gym. I want to come live here.
Yeah.
And so to see their eyes light up when the jerseys are there and they're like, oh, who's he play for? Who's that? Or when did you train him? That's pretty special. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's sick,
My
dude.
favorite thing about this whole thing has been about how, like, you know, your painful past is your greatest asset, and that your all-in attitude with drinking has just been transferred into your gift from God. You know, that's pretty cool.
thank you, man.
To me.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
I think-
I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I'm extremely grateful to be an alcoholic and to have those
Yeah.
struggles. I remember the last story here, drinking story.
No, we love drinking stories. Huh?
I remember waking up one day. This was like night of the SEC championship. This is in 2018. I think Auburn was playing,
Yeah.
War Eagle, and
Is that kick six? Is that year?
I think I was 17.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And I remember going to Edley's to start day drinking with a buddy of mine that just got cut by the Chargers, and another buddy from high school. We all three went to the same high school, and so we're here in Nashville at Edley's. We're drinking Bloody Marys to start the day off. And then cut to, we're at I think either a Georgia or Auburn bar, watching the game down on Broadway. And then cut to me waking up underneath a bench on Broadway.
Perfect.
And I can't find my keys, no phone, no nothing, no wallet, nothing. So I run home 1.8 miles to my apartment.
You actually run?
Oh, yeah, no, I ran.
So you're like Mac.
That was
You're
my
like
thing.
Mac.
Is that what he does?
He said he'd leave the bar and he wouldn't want to Uber or taxi. He would just
He would
sprint.
just
run.
sprint
Yeah,
home in Tuscaloosa. He'd be like, you got to want this shit. You don't want this shit.
He would like hype himself up in his head, drunk as shit. He
Absolutely.
would just be running.
That was me. I would get drunk and then I would leave. And I would leave
That's so
people.
stupid.
I would get so mad because they get mad at me for drinking. And so I would just run. And I
Yeah.
would run away from my problems and just run back home.
Yeah.
And so I run back. I see this guy who would always let his dog out. And he happened to be letting his dog out at 3 a.m. And I'm like, hey, man, can you let me back in? And I was just gone. Like I couldn't even talk to the guy because I was so just gone. And
So you probably ran up to him and be like,
hey, man.
Did you have hair then?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. No
the
hair
good
now.
old days.
That's right. And he lets me in, and then I'm like, wait, I don't have my keys. I'm gonna have to bust this door down. So without even trying to see if it was unlocked, boom, and I break the door off its hinges.
Fuck.
And so then I set it back up, then I pass out. I go downstairs the next day. I find one of my friends, and I'm like, can I use your laptop to get on Instagram and message my friends? And I get back, one of the boys is back in my room. I'm like, how in the world did you get here? And he's like, I've been in this apartment complex for the last hour trying to find your place. And then I saw the one with the door off its hinges, and I figured it was yours. And so as he's talking, he gets a phone call from Drew, the guy we were with the night before. And he goes, hey, man, are you with Justin? I have his phone. I just went to the
clutch.
I just went to the gas station to fill up my car. I went to pay for the gas, calling Justin at the same time. And on the gas station attendant's desk, his phone lights up with my name on it. So he's literally calling me at the Shell gas station on Broadway.
What are the odds
Wow.
of that, dude?
And he's giving the guy a $20 bill, and he looks and he's like, Drew Cottrell, that's me.
Yeah.
Can I have that phone? That's my buddy's phone. And here, I'm calling him. He tries it again. Boom, lights up again. That's my phone. So the other guy woke up in a field, walked to a gas station, charged his phone, got the Uber, then was walking around my apartment complex for an hour.
Brutal.
So I still to this day have no idea what happened. And a normal person would stop drinking. We were drinking by about 12 o'clock the next day.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about both of you, I guess, is like how open you are with your addiction and your journey. And like, I don't know, man. It's really like cool to hear the stories, how you both can talk about it so open, and you're just like, no, this is who I am. Like, accept it or not, I don't really care. Like, it's just who I am. You know?
I mean, you got to be right. You never know who
Respectful.
you never know who that's going to help.
That's exactly right.
It's it's healing for me.
Mm-hmm. It helps
but-
me remember what it was like.
What it was like. Yeah, it's always a good trip down memory lane.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not, I mean, life gets busy. You don't get to go to as many meetings as you used to, or so anytime I talk about it, it reminds me of exactly Like if I'm stressed out, like, oh, I didn't write the best song today, or I didn't do the best, I could have done. Like, hey, dude, like, you went to jail every time you got drunk. You know what I mean? You're doing pretty good.
You're doing all right.
Did you ever run into the law?
Nope. This public safety was the closest I got. And then actually, you know what? Indiana University, I was sitting outside of my apartment complex drunk and like passed out because I couldn't figure out which apartment complex was mine. And
So you were drinking.
oh, I was gone. And I remember I
Mitch is
pissed my
loving this.
pants.
He's like, if you ever relapse, just call me.
It's just funny. Like I could think of my friends, the ones that would go that hard, that like would just be like, you know what? I don't even remember what door it is. I'm going to sleep.
I'm going to sleep. Yep, that was me. Right on the mulch, pissed my pants, and next thing I know, my buddy is waking me up on the couch, and he's like, "Dude, the cops brought you home, and they tossed this bag of weed to me and said he's gonna need this in the morning." So it was in my pocket.
Oh no!
That's crazy.
And that
Shout
was
out
it.
to
So
them.
yeah, I could have gotten taken to jail quite a few times, but never did.
Yeah, that's crazy.
God
dude.
bless.
Well, dude, thanks for being on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Thank you for letting us use your facility. I think this is a cool background. We should do this more often. Just
This place is awesome.
Bring the pod to them.
You're
you know?
welcome anytime, man. This is great.
Be sure to follow JTodd on Instagram. Is it
So
at
JTodd Performance?
JTodd Performance is my own personal training, and then the gym is athlos.inc.
How do you spell Athlos?
Athlos. It's a Greek root of athlete or competition.
Nice.
Cool.
All right, y'all be sure to rate and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, go watch it on YouTube, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace out.
She's pretty as a picture with half her makeup gone. Even in a wrinkled t-shirt, she's still got it going on. Doesn't matter what she's doing, she's perfect all the time. She's pretty drunk, she's pretty sober, she's pretty hungover. Yeah, she's pretty hungover. In her sweatpants or a Sunday best, wherever she goes, she's turning heads and breaking necks. She's pretty as a picture with half her makeup gone. Even in a wrinkled t-shirt, she's still got it going on. Doesn't matter what she's doing,